Hi, welcome to the virtual orientation of reflection by Grand Design. We're going to start our orientation on the outside of the trailer, and we're going to start near the front. First thing that we're going to look at is the door side compartment access to the underbelly or pass-through compartment. On this side we have a couple items we need to discuss. First, shed some light on the situation. You'll notice we have a battery disconnect. This is a good way to disconnect power from the rest of the trailer so you're not having to draw on the battery. This way you can leave the battery in the trailer for short periods of time and not have to worry that it's going to be having power drawn from it. If we turn and look, we'll see a GFCI protected plug, and right above that we have outputs for your cable or satellite TV. As we continue forward, we'll see one of two 30-pound propane bottles stored on either side at the front of the trailer. As we continue around the front, we'll make note of the front storage compartment area. This front storage compartment gives you access to the power landing gear for the front, as well as your battery storage. Taking a step back, we'll look at the front, the pin of your fifth wheel, as well as your safety breakaway switch. The safety breakaway switch is attached by the loop to the tow vehicle and to the pin on the trailer side. In the event that the tow vehicle is separated from the RV, this pin will be pulled out, engaging your trailer brakes. Conversely, you might notice when you first hitch up that your brakes might be on the trailer. Come here and just make sure that the pin isn't pulled out just a little bit, as I've seen that happen. So also here at the front we have a switch for your front running lights. And underneath the front, we also have a solar ready hookup connection point. So as we continue along the front, we'll come to the off-door side 30-pound bottle storage. This is where you'll find your crossover regulator. So what the crossover regulator does, and I'll turn on some light here, you can get a better look. So this is your crossover regulator. At this point in time, it is pointing this direction, so to this hose, which will draw from this bottle first. When this bottle drops below a predetermined pressure, and that pressure amount is predetermined by the regulator and we cannot adjust it, when it drops below that predetermined pressure, it'll cross over and it will draw from the tank on the other side of the trailer, regardless of which way the handle is pointing. Okay, let's open up the off-door side of your pass-through or underbelly storage. We have a lot to talk about on this side. We have a quick connect spray hose that can be used with this outside faucet. Also in this area, we have satellite output, as well as the input for the whole trailer's satellite cable connectivity. Is right here. So from your campground or home, wherever you're wanting to look at your satellite or cable TV, you want to run the cable into here. And so you don't have to keep the door open all the time. You can run the cable up through here. Okay. Also here, make note of this red button. I'll mention specifically as it took us a little bit to figure out what it did. So with it on, you'll note there are night lights under the bedroom slide. And I believe this is due to it being at head height. So at nighttime, you're not whacking your head on that. And right above here, we have switching for your water pump, as well as your city water connection. Now, in order to utilize these different ports, we need to look at the diagram, and it will tell us what configuration of diverter valve handle positions will allow us to do whichever thing that we want to do. So if you're dry camping, which means you have no water supply, you're not at a campground, you're not at home, this is how you would need to have it. Now, everything plugs in to the city water inlet, and these different handle positions will give you these different functions. So for dry camping, this is what you want these handles to look like. So at this point in time, we are not set up for dry camping. That would be your dry camping setup. So this would draw water from your freshwater tank. You'll also notice that you can fill your freshwater tank from here as well. You simply need to put the diverter valve handles in this position. To use the city water, which would be the hose from the campground or your house, used to pressurize the water system of the trailer, and then you can use the water much like you would your water at your house. You would put the handles in this position. If you want to winterize, this is going to pull water from your pump, or with your pump from an antifreeze jug. You would turn to this position. So we pull back a little bit. We'll notice you have your tank flush inlet as well. This is solely used to flush out the black water tank. You connect your garden hose to this, and that is all you need to do. Right below here, we also have your valves for your gray and black water tanks, and a GFCI plug giving you 120 volt power. So if we turn around here, the other important item we need to speak about in the underbelly on the off-door side is your ground control. This is what you use to automatically level this fifth wheel, and it's pretty straightforward. But in order to engage the system or turn the system on and off, you hit the on button. And if you want to level the system, you merely hit auto level. And it'll do Siri, it'll take a little bit, but it'll go up and down and move and do all this stuff. That's basically it leveling itself. Now, you might find if there is a lot of play or you're parked on very uneven ground, that the leveling system may not make proper contact. If that's the case, you'll need to put some blocking underneath and start the procedure again. It's also important to note that You don't want to be trying to level the system with the auto level and have someone inside the trailer moving around a lot. There are very detailed instructions here, so I won't go into any more details. That's the general gist of how you use it. Obviously retract will bring the legs up, and this will do the functioning of up and down. You can also do each individually by pressing the button and then up and down. So just outside to the right of the off-door underbelly access, you will notice the 50 amp power supply. This is what you would connect to either your home or your campground power. Now, not all campgrounds and not all homes have a 50 amp plug supplied for you, so we do provide different plug ends to bring it down to a 15 amp or a 30 amp plug if needed. That way you can at least power your fridge and a couple other small appliances. Next, we'll come to the outside access to your hot water tank. In the hot water tank, there's a couple items that are important to note. One is the pressure relief valve, and the other is the drain plug. Before you remove this drain plug, always make sure you open the pressure relief valve and leave it open while you remove it, or this will shoot out of there at you like a rocket. We're going to continue along the outside of the trailer, and the next thing that we come to will be the venting for your refrigerator. Now, it's important that this remains obstruction free in order for proper airflow to enter the vent and allow for proper operation of your refrigerator. We continue along the outside, and while we're at the back, we'll make note of the rear view camera body. This is an extra that is not included. However, the pre-wiring is there for you to be able to install a camera to look at the rear of the trailer while the trailer is moving. There is a handheld or head unit that is kept inside the tow vehicle so you can view the back of the trailer at all times. As we make our way around to the door of the RV, we'll note one or two more things before we head inside. First, we have your awning, and under the awning we have awning speakers. These speakers can be operated from the stereo inside the unit. Let's go inside and take a look at what we can find. First thing through the door, we'll turn back around and we'll make note of your RV fire extinguisher. Very important to make sure you have one, that it's operational and functional, and you know where it is. I think this is a great spot. It's easily accessible inside the RV, but also accessible on the outside if you happen to be using an outdoor barbecue or something. So as we stand up, we'll turn around. We'll open your closet as soon as you come through the door. And this is where you'll find a lot of the important stuff for the operation of your trailer, from the power center or load center to your indication panel. You'll also see here for your max fan, or that fan right there, that we have controls for it here to open the vent, also a timer for the fan, as well as to close the vent. Now inside your Inside here we have your indication panel where you can check the level of your battery, your fresh, black, and gray water tanks. Here you will also find the switch to operate your awning, your ceiling lights, your step light outside, as well as your water pump. If you notice, you can operate your water pump from inside or outside in the underbelly. We'll also have switching for your water tank or water heater on gas and electric, and some switching for your running light. Here you'll notice we have the switching for the 3 slides. And as we drop down and take a look at your power center or load center, you'll notice that it contains breakers like you might find in your house, as well as fuses like you would see in your vehicle. Now if we just pivot over to my left here, we'll notice another important piece of safety equipment. This is your propane carbon monoxide detector. Now there's a button on the front. You press that button to test. I would test every 6 months. My usual suggestion is daylight savings time, just because that's the easiest way to remember to press and test that. Now when you press, it'll make a series of loud beeps. This will turn red and then go back to green to indicate that you are good to go and you are safe. Now, speaking of testing this every 6 months, while we're on that subject, I will also recommend changing the smoke detector for the unit, or the battery for the smoke detector for the unit, every 6 months as well. That way you can be sure that you're always protected. Since we're already pointing in this direction, we might as well make our way up the stairs into your bathroom and bedroom area. Now the GFCI for this unit is not actually located in the bathroom. This plug is connected to the load side of a GFCI. So if it is non-functioning, the first place I would look would be the GFCI plug, which I believe is located on the island in the kitchen. We will get there in a moment. Okay, we'll go into the bedroom, take a look. One of the first things I want to make note of, again, important safety information, your emergency exit. In order to use this emergency exit, it's important that you press down on the black tab, push the red handle over and out, taking the handle perpendicular to the window. You can then push it all the way outside of the vehicle, pull on the red tab to remove the screen, and you can exit the vehicle to safety. So currently, this RV does not have a TV in the bedroom. It is prepped for a mount location, as well as outputs for your cable or satellite, and 120 volt power. Also in the bedroom, we have prop supported bed storage, and we have USB charging capabilities right beside your bed as well. Before we leave the bedroom, we'll take a look at your walk-in closet. It's got a nice blue nightlight. Really nice looking closet. And you'll notice on either side it has removable shelving. That shelving is removable because we have locations for a dryer and dryer vent and a washer, and all the plumbing and venting to operate your washer properly, as well as 120 volt power. And we will note, when we mentioned the smoke detector earlier, this particular RV also has a secondary smoke detector in the bedroom. So when you're changing the batteries every 6 months on daylight savings time on the one in the front or in the kitchen, it'd be a good idea to also take a look at this one. As we come into the main area of the trailer, it's nice and spacious. And we'll come into the kitchen first. This is a nice double door fridge and freezer with 2 modes. We have a gas only mode and an auto mode. The auto will select between gas and electric, automatically choosing electric if it's present. This will, once it's on, you power on, it'll tell you it's working with AC. If I press mode, it'll go to LP, indicating it's using gas. And then you can set the temperature with the set temp button. If it does not light properly on gas, it will show a code in this window to indicate that there is an error. Let's move onto your range and stove. This range is operated with an electric sparker. You turn to the light position, turn the sparker, and it will automatically light for you. The same can be done for each one of the burners. Your oven, however, needs to be lit with your barbecue lighter via the pilot here. Not sure if you can see where my finger is. Hold your barbecue lighter there and make sure this is turned to the light position. And once in the light position, you must press and hold. And while you press and hold that, light the pilot where I indicated. We're not going to stand up, we're just going to rotate 180 degrees here, and we will see the unit GFCI plug that I talked about earlier. So right now this is operational, the green light is on. This is tripped, so there's no light. At this point in time, if you tried to use the plug in the receptacle in the bathroom that I showed you earlier, it would not function. And so if you ever come across that, I would find this GFCI, press the button. In this case, it's on the right, and that will reset the GFCI and everything on the load side of the GFCI plug as well. Continue on into the rest of the living room. Come to the recliners. Before we go anywhere else, I just want to point out right here, this little tab or handle you can see, that is the handle that you use to extend the feet on the recliner. And the other one can be found right in here. You'll see that this unit comes with a fireplace. It has 10 different temperature settings, as well as a low and high as far as heat output. And it also has a timer feature. one thing I just noticed, let's turn that back on. We have the fan level here. You can cycle through the different fan level as well as the heat, low or high, and that will kick your fan on. I did notice though, when we were looking at this earlier, that it didn't feel like the fan was coming on. So if you run into that, it'll still put out heat, but it won't kick the fan on if the thermostat has already reached its desired temperature. So if you go to turn it on and you don't feel like the fan's running, it could just be that it is warm enough so it's not blowing any heat. You'll see in the center cabinet above the TV, we have your stereo. The stereo uses USB, headphone, auxiliary, and Bluetooth capabilities. And it also has 2 zones. Zone 1 is inside the trailer. Zone 2, right here, plays on the speakers outside the trailer that I showed you earlier. That way you can enjoy the radio in and outside your trailer. As we turn around and we'll walk back into your kitchen and make a mention of your thermostat. This thermostat has basically an on-off mode, a remote button, and this on or off and a remote button is used to cycle between the fan, cool, and furnace, or off. And you can cycle between high or low as far as the fan setting goes, and increase or decrease in temperature as far as the AC or furnace is concerned. Now, you will notice that there are baffles here on the AC unit. With the baffles closed, like it is now, it will force the majority of the cool air through ports in the ceiling located throughout the trailer. And with these baffles open, the majority of the cool air will come right here. Ideal if you're cooking and you want more of the cool air to be centralized in the center of the trailer. That about does it for the virtual orientation for your grand design. It's a big trailer with lots of neat and interesting features. Feel free to give us a call and we'll do our best to answer your questions. Thank you.